We've all met someone who's a fool. We might know someone who's a big fool. But how do fools become greater fools? And how do we take advantage of them for monetary gain? The term greater fool was first coined in 1973 by Princeton economics professor Burton Malkiel. In layman terms, a greater fool is an investor who will purchase goods at a much higher price than its actual value. In context, I may be a fool for purchasing this piece of cardboard for $50, but don't worry, a greater fool will purchase it for $75. Stop laughing. Throughout the history of the free market, we have seen greater fool theory manifest itself in things like the dot-com bubble, the 2008 US housing crisis, and the current US housing bubble. All of these bubbles relied on a greater fool. There was always going to be someone to purchase my website. There was always going to be someone to buy the house that I'm flipping. Now, while the idea of a greater fool rose to prominence in 1973, there's evidence to suggest that this psychological phenomenon has existed in investment-based economic structures for much longer. Beyond identifying examples of greater fools, specifically in market bubbles, there's evidence to support that speculative investing has relied on greater fools for at least the lifetime of the United States. In 1796, the US government was looking to sell the public land that lay north of the Ohio River by allowing citizens to speculate on the land for $2 an acre, about $46 in today's money, under the condition that a minimum of 640 acres or more would be purchased. How were these people greater fools? The terrain of the parcels sold was not conducive to immediate settlement, meaning land speculators would not only need to pay for the lands, but would also need to spend either time or money to clear the land for the purpose of farming, which the land was primarily purchased for. 3 generations later, the outskirts of the American Dust Bowl would affect the farmlands of Ohio, reducing the land's value significantly. This is a bit of an abstract example because the idea of waiting for an investment for 3 generations is a huge amount of time in the market of speculative investment. It's just an example that existed near the birth of our nation. To make matters even worse, the people who lived in these speculated parcels were living in Ohio. With significant market fluctuations occurring over long periods of time, sometimes it becomes difficult to differentiate between speculation that relies on greater fools and market bubbles that rely on greater fools. But every example of traditional market bubbles have one thing in common. There was always something on the other end of the hook. Even in stock market bubbles, the ownership share of the stock is worth having the vested ownership portion of a company. But what if there was nothing on the other end of the hook? What if the promises of utility were overshadowed by the fact that public adoption had never met speculative expectations, to the point that speculators realized that nothing had been there all along? That's right, we're talking about crypto, baby! In the early days of cryptocurrency, it would be a fair assessment to write off speculators of crypto as greater fools. Supporters of crypto have always said that it'll be a currency alternative and that soon we'll be able to order Starbucks using Bitcoin. The biggest problem with this argument is just the amount of time that it's been around. Since its creation in 2009, there's only been one country that has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender: El Salvador. Other accomplishments of El Salvador include being the deadliest place in the world that isn't a war zone. While there is evidence of enormous overvaluation of crypto, it wouldn't be fair to call it a bubble yet, because the only time you can determine with absolute certainty that a market is a bubble is after it's popped. So, for the sake of this video, we're going to consider traditional crypto markets like Bitcoin and Ethereum as speculative markets. Extremely high-risk speculative markets. As it currently stands, the current vehicle of investment that crypto rides into town with is its value and value alone. There's really no better example to explain greater fool theory than a market whose sole value is based on, what will the next investor pay for my Bitcoin? It may seem crazy to people looking from the outside in, but greater fool investment strategy isn't new, and it certainly isn't exclusive to the cryptocurrency market. In fact, there are entire courses dedicated to help financial advisors determine whether or not they should use greater fool strategy for clients in more traditional markets. Look, the future might hold Bitcoin in its favor as it one day becomes the unified global currency that heralds in world peace. So to crypto's point, the metaphorical fishing hook of the greater fool analogy that I've been using up to this point might have some substance lashed onto it. But what if someone took what was already an incredibly speculative market, a market that relies almost wholeheartedly on Greater Fools, and in addition to that, decided to throw all caution to the wind. What if cryptocurrency was married to a technology that was in its infant stages of growth as far as usability? That's right, we're talking about NFTs, baby.
Now what the hell's an NFT? Apparently cryptocurrency. Everyone's making so much money. Can you please explain what's an NFT?
Nobody ever changed the world by doing what everyone else is doing. Mark Cuban. Not only is this an incredibly inspirational quote by one of the most financially literate people alive, but it's also an NFT being sold by the guy that said the thing for a cool price of $2,426.66 as of the writing of this video. To be clear to all of the diehard Mark Cuban fans of the world, Mark Cuban is in the minority of financial figures of authority that insists that NFTs should be for collecting, not for speculating. But speculating seems to be all that everyone wants to do with NFTs these days. Now, NFTs started as good old-fashioned, greater fool speculation like we know and love. The birth of mainstream NFTs was in digital art and collectibles. What's the utility of an NFT? Well, it was making sure that artists got paid what they thought they deserved. The standout artist in this regard was Mike Winkelmann, known online as Beeple. What started out as an artist posting his art every day for nearly 17 years turned into a massive NFT collection that went on to sell for a historic $69 million. Was Vignesh Sundaresan a greater fool for buying a digital art collection? He's as much of a greater fool as anyone who collects art in real life. And before someone hits me with the epic response of right-click save image as, if you go to a museum and you take a perfectly framed picture with perfect lighting and perfect everything, but the painting itself is owned by the museum or a private collector that's donated it for viewing, you only own the image that you took, which could otherwise be considered a copy of the original work. As long as the blockchain holds a record of transfer from the original artist through the current owner, that ledger can be considered, heavy emphasis on can, just as important as a certificate of authenticity for a physical work of art. This, of course, is dependent on all surrounding parties agreeing that the blockchain record is just as important as a certificate of authenticity. There are many other problems with NFTs, and I would encourage people to watch both of these videos because CJ and Dan Olson are going to be much more eloquent in presenting problems with NFTs than I ever will be. Problems aside, NFTs exploded in popularity at the turn of the decade, with some artists considering the future of NFTs giving them future monetary security if the technology seriously evolved with both the crypto landscape and if public acceptance allowed it. But for every Leonardo DiCaprio comes a Steven Seagal. With every Brad Pitt, there's a Rob Schneider. That's right, bad actors. Within what seemed like no time at all, NFT marketplaces began to get filled with low-effort, mass-marketed NFT projects. Influencers and gurus flocked to mass-market NFTs for a while, with normal celebrities like Jimmy Fallon getting sucked into the absolute shitstorm that was mass-marketed NFTs. Was it legally dubious to artificially inflate the price by making a public statement on network television endorsing an NFT project that you're either invested in or being compensated by? Yeah. If we're talking about financial securities, I forgot that I wrote this. Jiminy Fallon would be violating 15 U.S. Code 78J or Rule 10b-5 of the SEC regulations, which reads that it shall be unlawful to make any untrue statements of a material fact or to omit to state a material fact. Regardless of the fact that not all NFTs are financial securities and therefore are a legal gray area for the SEC, Jonathan Falcon, along with a number of other celebrities, were pulled into a class action lawsuit that alleged that there was a conspiracy to artificially inflate the price of aforementioned NFT projects. We're still on the gray side of the law, though. When are we going to get to the black and white bad part of the law, where we learn to flawlessly take advantage of greater fools? Even with overproduced and overvalued NFTs flooding the market in the early days, that's all they were. You got what you saw without any expectation that it had any value other than what the next greater fool would pay for it. But surely we can do better than that. Why don't we start promising that this blockchain gif of Patrick Star sucking off... fuck. Why don't we start promising that this blockchain gif of Patrick Star sucking off a hobo Peter Griffin is going to get you into an exclusive nightclub in Stockton, California? Utility NFTs is where we began to cross the line from this is a kind of scummy thing to promote to this is a fucking scam. To be clear, some utility NFTs do deliver on their promises. NFTs in this category are typically reserved for things like Discord server access, and some serious NFT stump speakers like Beeple have successfully hosted NFT art events, and there, to my knowledge, has not been a single unsuccessful NFT event that blasted its attendees with medical grade UV lights. Where a problem begins to occur is when an NFT project promises the moon with the feasibility of delivery being slim to none. From shitcoins to NFT games to financial investment vehicle coins, the sale pitch typically reads about the same. Are you financially illiterate between the ages of 16 and 35? Do you want to make money while you sit on your ass and do nothing? Then invest in Liam's fucking piss gifts and coins. The coins may only be worth 1/100th of a cent with a volume of 100 billion tokens, but when this baby hits $2.48, you could be a millionaire. Not only that, but if you own any of the gifts, you'll be guaranteed to star in a blockbuster AAA movie alongside Penn Jillette and a holographic recreation of John Wayne. But wait, there's more. If you own a GIF and watch the Liam's Piss documentary that's definitely going to be on a major streaming platform by the end of the month, you'll automatically earn cold hard cash and also money. I know I've already knocked your socks clean off, but I'm about to blast the seams right off your underpants with the next major announcement. Don't have the piss gift that you want? Buy a second one and breed them together to make more piss. Hey Google, define rug pull.
According to Built-In, a rug pull, taken from the expression pulling the rug out, is a common type of crypto scam where fraudulent developers lure investors into what appears to be a lucrative new project, then disappear with the funds, leaving the investors with a worthless asset, explained Brittany Allen, a trust and safety architect.
That's what I was gonna say. While I don't feel qualified to coin a new phrase, I don't think that the phrase greater fool quite captures a crypto scammer's target. Instead of overinflating something to sell to a foolish investor in the hopes that they assume they will find greater fools to resell to, they are overinflating literally nothing in the hopes that someone's gonna buy it in the first place. They aren't looking for greater fools anymore. They're looking for the greatest fool. I wish that the story ended there, but it somehow gets worse. These jackaloons will go so far to advertise these scams. Frosty's Big Daddy Ape Club, Evil Ape, Iconic, Save the Kids, CryptoZoo were all heavily advertised by its creators and by people that were on the inner circles of these alleged scams. I want to be very clear with alleged. All of these people were engaged in the intentional perversion of truth in order to induce another person to part with something of value. I feel like there's a word for this. Oh, it's the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of fraud. That's called fraud. These people are committing fucking fraud. How are they getting away with it? These people need to be held accountable. How have we allowed these people to dodge responsibility for all this time and have zero culpability in fraud? That's a financial crime. Do these people have bulletproof vests built specifically to dodge bullets from the SEC?
Get fucked! Fuck you! Fuck you! Never come back, bitch!
Non-financial advice is one of the most popular phrases many scam pushers and financial gurus will use out there, along with DYOR or do your own research coming in at a close second. I think that these guys think that the SEC would do something like this. You'll automatically earn cold hard cash and also money. Stop right there. You're under arrest for financial crimes. Sorry, Mr. Lawyer, but I clearly state at the bottom of my advertisement that this is not financial advice. Damn. He got us, boys. Back it up. Shit. When in reality, it would probably go something more like this. You'll automatically earn cold hard cash and also money. Stop right there. You're under arrest for financial crimes. Sorry, Mr. Lawyer, but I clearly state at the bottom of my advertisement that this is not financial advice. We don't care whether or not you gave financial advice or not. You said something that was untrue, and people made financial decisions based on that. That's securities fraud. While we're on the topic of not financial advice and do your own research and financial gurus in general, I'd like to point a tiny piece of cognitive dissonance. If I'm supposed to do my own research and not treat a financial influencer's statements as financial advice, then why the fuck should I listen to anything that they have to say? When mated, those two statements imply that I should seek real financial advice, which completely removes the demand for financial influencers. It's almost like they've invested in a financial vehicle and are specifically looking to advertise it to someone who may be willing to purchase it at a higher price than they invested in it. What was this video about again? Oh yeah, that's right. In conclusion, I'd like to borrow that golden parachute phrase, do your own research. This video isn't meant to educate people on financial literacy or act as a hit piece on crypto or financial gurus. It's merely an examination of greater fool theory and its modern application in the landscape of cryptocurrency. I'd really quickly like to shout out some of the videos and channels that inspired this video. I frequently put King of Nothing videos on when I go to sleep, and his video on Keemstar's foray into NFT scams directly influenced the direction of this video. I would also be remiss not to mention the absolute pinnacle of cryptocurrency documentarians, that is CoffeeZilla. On screen right now are some of the sources that I used for this video. I realized as I was writing this conclusion that there are a lot more articles that I read that I didn't directly reference. If you're interested in any further reading, there's going to be a link in the description to a blog post on letruger.com that'll have additional readings and any corrections should they need to be made. So until next time, I've got to go. I heard that 15,000 people just purchased Liam's piss coins and gifts, so I'm gonna have to dump that off real quick. See you guys next time.